So earlier we created this add underscore ins underscore personal.html file, which is for the add instructor, and that's the first page of capturing details for an instructor, and that is capturing the personal details. And one thing that we can notice in this form is if we keep these all fields blank, and if we click the next button, still form is going to submit, and we can see this URL with these values appear, which is an indication that form has been submitted. So it's not showing us any error messages to indicate that these form fields are empty. So if we look at the code in our HTML file, here inside our container, actually inside our main -content div, we have the form, and in that form we have this action attribute which is blank at the moment, and in this form we have one button at the end. So this is the button. So in any form, if we place a button, by default it will be of type submit, although we haven't specified the type here. By default always that button will be of type submit if we place it inside the form. So in case if we want a button to not have the type submit, we have to specifically use the type equals button inside a form tag. Otherwise it will be automatically of type submit. And that's why when we click this next button, form submitted. So if we want to show some kind of validation to user, the default validation is very easy to set up. What we can do is we can let's go to this first text box, which is the person code, and this is the text box of input type text. We can simply add here required, and once we add the required, let's refresh this again. So I will remove this and press enter, and this form has now refreshed. And if I now press next, it's showing us this default message, please fill out this field. It's only showing for this person code, and if we add the required to the next field, the first name input, and let's refresh the form again, and then if we press next button, now it is first showing this one, and now if we put some value there and then click next, and it's now showing this one, please fill out this field for the first name. If we press if we put some value there, and then if we click next, for the rest of the fields it does not show anything, and form submitted. So we need to show some kind of indication to the user to show that you need to fill these fields, but the default method is not that good. I mean, it's not attractive enough. So it's good that if we can have some kind of eye-catching validation other than just that pop-up message. So we can achieve it in this way. Let me go back to the code, and here first thing we can do is we can add these kind of required uh, into the fields, just like we added these to first text box. I'm going to add into the other ones also. Let me add it to the third one, that is middle name, and I'm going to add the required to the fourth one, that's the surname. And for the email, I can add required again, and also here this type is email in this input. So let's say when let's test one more thing here. I added the required to the email, and let's go back to the page, and I'm going to refresh again. And if we press next, it shows here the message. I will add some text, and now it will show the message for the second one. I will add some text there, and I will press the next, and it will show this message again for the third one. I'm adding another text box, text value. And for the surname also, it shows this. I will add some text, and if we press next, now it is showing this for the email. So let me add some letter there. Soon as I add the letter, it shows something else. Please include an @ in the email address. So because we added this text box as type email, and although we added here the required validation, it not only shows initially it shows this, please fill out this field, but when we fill out it, it also asks us to add @ symbol and to have a proper format of an email. So even when we add @ it asks us to have it shows us that a @ is incomplete. So that means we have to add another letter like this. So that's the default behavior. So now let me go back to the code, and let me finish adding the required to the other fields also. The next one is this select, and in this select we have to make one more change. Here if we have these kind of values for every option, like first one has value 0, second one has value 1, third one value 2, and fourth one value 3, and if we add required to this select tag, and let's refresh, and I will add some letters to these first text boxes because it will complain otherwise. So, and this will add, I will add something here, and now here we added the required to the select of the gender input, and ideally when we press next, it should show some kind of message saying please select the gender, but it does not do that. It's submitted. That's because in this select, although we added this required, the value, the first one, that is the one that is already selected, has value of 0. So it identifies that as a valid option. So the selected one, it identified as a valid value. So to get the correct behavior for the validation for the select box, when the value is at the default value, which is select gender, we have to remove this value from the first one. So now it is blank. It only has this double quotation, and we have added this required. And now if we press next, it will show that message asking us to select a value, select a option for that drop down. So that's the one thing that we need to change for the select elements. It's not only enough to add this required, we always should remove the value from the default option. So now let's try again. I'll add some letters for these first few text boxes. And now when we press next, it asks us to please select an item in the list. So once we select something with value, then only it will allow us to submit. So that's for the select elements. And next we have this input type date. It's similar to the input type text. I will add simply the required. And next again of type select. So I will add the required here, and also I will remove this value from the default option. And next one is also text box. So I will add required. And the next one is a radio button. So in these radio buttons, it's little bit different compared to other input fields. Here what we have to do is we have to add required to both radio buttons. So these are one radio button and label collection. So and the next one is this one, this input of type radio and this label. So it's not enough to add required to one of these. We have to add required to both. And because both these radio buttons have the same name, which is this RB status, if either of these radio buttons have not checked, it will show the message asking us to select one of the radio buttons. So we can test that, and let me add the required to the next radio button, which is account locked. So here also I will add required for the first option, and then I will add the required for the next one also. And I'm going to add the required to this text box LMS ID. And finally, I will add the required to the text area for the person notes. Now we have added all the required validations for all the text boxes and the other input elements. And after I refresh, let's check one by one. Now it is asking us to please select one of these options. So if we select one of these, it moves to the next one. Once we fill all these, then only it will submit. So that's the default validation in HTML, simply using the required.